Well, that ended abruptly. Jesus, I didn't realise that. Guys, welcome back to the show. This is James Phillips Football Chats. This is your Liverpool and Spurs preview, and I am joined by Chris today. How are you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. I'm quietly confident at this moment in time, but I imagine that will dissipate more and more as we get closer to the kickoff.
Excellent. So I'll put a description of Chris's channel in the link after this video, guys. So people go and check him out as well. He does good stuff over on his channel. And I'm over there tomorrow, I believe, as well. So, guys, you can catch me there tomorrow. So I'll put the link in the chat.
Basically just repeating what we're saying on here tomorrow in about 12 hours' time. Just
in a different format. It's all good. It's all good. So guys, don't forget usual stuff, housekeeping. Don't forget to like the video, give it a subscribe as well. I'd appreciate it. I am on my goal for 1,000 subs. I'm on 846 right now, which is madness. I've only been doing this a few months, so things are going quite well at this moment in time. So Liverpool Spurs. Saturday at the weird time, was it 7:45 kickoff on a Saturday night?
Yeah. Well, I'm on a stag do. It's my brother's stag do who's not that bothered about football. So I'm trying to sweet talk the best man to let us go to a sports bar or something.
Go get in the sports bar, watch the game, definitely. It's going to be a crack of a game. This is Liverpool, from a Liverpool standpoint. This is Liverpool's hardest game they got left. I've been saying it for a while, and a lot of Liverpool fans say Newcastle with their form they're in at the moment, things like this. But Newcastle are a team I weren't too worried about, because I think we should have beaten comfortably Newcastle in the end. 1-0. It was a comfortable game. But this Spurs game worries me because, Spurs, and where I watch as a Liverpool fan, watching Spurs, Chris, you'll be able to tell us more, obviously. When I watch Spurs, I think Spurs against the big teams play better football. They seem to be up for it better. And I don't know, it's because they get more. When you're playing lower side teams, obviously they go way I look at Tottenham basically this season. If you allow Tottenham to have possession of the football, they don't look at their best. If you allow Tottenham to have counter-attacking football and the better team has more possession, Tottenham look at their best. I don't know if that's right or wrong, Chris. You can tell us.
Yeah, well, firstly, thanks so much for inviting me on, Will. Good to be here. You pretty much summed it up right there. It's lesser teams sit back, let us have the ball. We don't have a playmaker as such. Our playmaker is our striker. So it's easy to defend against him if you know what they're going to do, and he's the only one who can do that. You can employ a defender to follow him around or a midfielder to follow him around and still keep your shape. But stronger teams attack us, and then the turnover, we get possession, and then the attacking team have committed a few more people forward, so there's a lot more space. So Kane gets a lot more joy coming deep because there's more space for him to occupy there because the opposition are on the attack. And then what happens when he gets the ball in space, then you get the runners against lesser teams where there's no space. There's not really that many people running because it's kind of wasted energy. And with the best will in the world, Harry Winks ain't going to play a 50-yard pass if he comes on to try and change the game. So, I think against better teams, certainly away from home, the opposition attack us more, and that suits us, certainly on a counter-attacking game, but in Kane's game, with more space in the middle for him to get the ball, turn, look up, see the runners, and spring the passes through. And I mean, you guys are going to attack us, so I expect us to get, might not win, but I definitely think we'll score, and I definitely think we'll cause you some problems.
Yeah, I'll do it.
It's just, will you score 5 goals before we get our first chance, which is also a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This is what I've been saying about. I've been looking at Spurs notes, especially when you played Man City. Now, when you played Man City, you basically played a more of a containing, counter-attacking game against Man City, and it worked beautifully because what Man City do, quite similar to Liverpool, they play a high line, they press from the front, and they want to control the whole game in the opposition's half. And what Tottenham did that day was sat back, contained, waited for loose balls. Once the loose ball comes, they put the ball over the top, so they countered the press with the ball over the top into that space where Kane comes in deep, and you've got Son on one side, Kulusevski on the other side, or Moura, I think, at the time was playing maybe. And they used the pace in the wide areas, and Kane's a very good passer of the football from deep. And Spurs got into Man City many times in that game. And for me, that's how I think you go play. I think that's how Tottenham are going to have to set up if they want to get anything out of this game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because if you go toe-to-toe.
If we go toe-to-toe, we'll get battered.
I mean, but I can see them doing it. And, I want you... Look, there's a player for Tottenham I absolutely adore. It's Son. I think he's immense. Yeah, apart from Mo Salah, he's probably the best winger in the league for me. I just think he's a tremendous footballer who don't get the recognition he deserves at times, I believe.
He's just won Player of the Month for, what would that be, April? He won Player of the Month for April.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean. He's in Kane's shadow, isn't he, really? Kane's the English boy. English media love the English guy, so... He gets all the praises, and Kane's only about 20-odd goals off of breaking Jimmy Greaves' record, so he's going to get a lot more. Every time he scores a goal, he's going to be closer and closer to that record, and that's going to be big news day whenever he does break that. But yeah, Son is unbelievable. He's been so consistent for however long. I think he's second in the leading scorer charts behind Salah, isn't he? I think he's probably about 3 goals behind him. But
yeah.
But yeah, and that front three that we've got, I mean, your front three, or front four, you could say now, if Jota comes off the bench, or 5 if Firmino plays as well. I think it's a game of 2 front threes. Kulusevski is very similar to Diaz in the fact that it looks like they've been playing with those other 2 and in the Premier League for years. Give any of them space, they're going to score goals. And
I agree. I absolutely love Son. Absolutely, Son. I think there is sand, my friend. Yeah, I'm coming through. Don't worry. Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking to each other right now. Son. I just adore him. He's good with both feet as well, left-footed, right-footed. As you say, he's in Kane's shadow a little bit. I mean, look, Harry Kane for me is a tremendous footballer. I'm not the biggest fan. I'm going to take this down. Let's just get this out of the way so we can put this to the side and we can move on and be friends. I'm not the biggest Harry Kane fan, and it's not even as a footballer. He's a world-class footballer. I just don't like the person. I'm not a big I'm not a big fan of the person Harry Kane. I find him a bit. Yeah, he rubs me up the wrong way. But there is sand, my friend. It's gonna have to be you because everyone else can hear me, and I can hear it on the backup as well. Yeah, I can hear myself on the YouTube. So, yes, Mitchell, there's definitely sand. Well, you can hear me, so yeah, I think someone's playing around. But Son, on the other hand, I find him scary. He's a threat. His pace is unreal. He's so quick. He's so direct. He's so good on the ball, and man, he's clinical. He's so clinical. He might be. No, I love Salah. I mean, obviously, I love Salah. Salah for me is the man. But in some ways, I think Son's a bit more clinical than Mo. I don't know how you feel about that. Mo misses a lot of chances, but he scores a lot of chances at the same time. It's if Mo took a lot of his chances, he'd be on 50 goals a season. It's how many he misses. But when I watch Son, he just seems that he has a chance, he scores. He has a chance. He's so clinical in front of goal, and how keeping hold of him, I think, is more important than keeping hold of Harry Kane in some ways. I really do.
I think if we get a playmaker, that's possibly right. If we don't get a playmaker and sell Kane, we got no one. And I think the difference between Salah and Kane is Salah's scored. I mean, Son's done it as well a couple of times, but Salah against the top teams has scored goals from absolutely nowhere and created chances himself. Where Son, on the whole, he scored a couple of unbelievable goals where he's run the whole length of the pitch. On the whole, he needs someone to put him through.
Yeah,
but he's changed his game as well. When we bought him, he was a left-sided winger. So stay on the left wing, beat the fullback, get the ball in, or come inside and have a shot. And now he's almost a striker now, with Kane dropping deep. Kane dropping deep only works, and it was the same for England in the Euros. If one of the other players takes his position up top when he's dropped deep, and that's what Son's done. It started last season massively under Mourinho when Kane completely changed his game, and it's carried on this season. Obviously, a bit of a slow start and everything that happened with Kane in City and the Nuno situation and the new manager. But yeah, Son is. I think there's 6 players on the pitch that if you get a chance, you want it to fall to one of them. I don't think there's a huge amount between them.
No.
Mane scares me. He has done for about 5 years. Just so quick.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Mane scares a lot of people, to be fair.
He was always the one out your front three, certainly when it was him, Salah, Firmino. That was my biggest worry, just because he's so quick and clinical to boot.
You're not the only rival fan who has said that about Sadio. I hear that quite a lot when they talk about our forward line. A lot of people always mention it's Sadio Mane they're worried about the most.
Yeah,
Liverpool fans, we always think it's Salah, but I think with Mane's the most unpredictable out of everybody in our forward line, because he can do something mad.
Well, I think he's similar to Son. Obviously, Salah gets all the headlines in the same way that Kane does. Mane, I mean, he's had a lot of praise, and rightly so, but he doesn't get the amount of praise that Salah gets.
No.
And there's not a huge amount between them, really, in my opinion. And then Diaz he'll probably become what Salah is now after Salah leaves and become the man. And like Kulusevski, he seems to have taken to the Premier League like a duck to water.
Yeah, I like Kulusevski.
I mean, Jota was playing quite well, wasn't he? Diaz has come in and Jota can't get a game. In the same way that Mora or Bergwijn were playing, now Kulusevski has made that position his own, and it's him, Son and Kane.
Yeah, Kulusevski. Talk about him for a minute, because obviously he came in January at the same time as Diaz came in for Liverpool. I think you got him on loan at the moment, haven't you?
Yes, loan with. I think it's an option to buy or an obligation to buy, but I can't see us not buying him, to be honest.
What's the deal on it if you do buy him?
I think it's 35 million if we buy him in the summer, and then possibly slightly more if we buy him in the next year. I can't remember the figures offhand, but I think it's
worth it. Well, we all know Danny Lee. We all know Daniel Levy. The
other thing is, however much money it is, we've got to pay for Romero this summer as well. But no one seems to know the deal on that. Whether no one seems to know the deal on that. Whether the loan deal was a loan deal with an extra 30 million chucked in, and then we only have to pay another 10 million, or if it was a loan deal and we have to pay 40 million this season. So I think that will the amount of money that is will determine whether we make Kulusevski permanent this summer.
Yeah, because when you bought Romero, I thought you bought him for 40 million. And then
we possibly did. No one seems to know.
A Spurs fan told me, no, we've just loaned him. It's not a buy yet. And then someone so it's all a bit up in the air, but you have got to tie him down no matter what.
Yeah, well, it's a very strange deal, because he basically got bought by Atalanta in the summer that we bought him, but then it's something to do with Italy. I think that a player can't play for 2 clubs in the same window or something like that. I can't remember the exact rule. So they couldn't sell him to us. They could only loan him to us. But then to get around it, it's a loan, but you have to buy him this summer. So essentially we've bought him. It's just we pay it and make it permanent a bit later. So he's brilliant. A lot of Spurs fans think he could become Van Dijk's level in a few years. And I mean, Van Dijk is obviously world class. And a lot of people think Romero could be that level as well. He's got a good manager there if everyone stays to coach him. He's still only 23. And But we're starting to get a bit of a spine back. 16, 17, we had Lloris, we had Alderweireld, Vertonghen, we had Dembele, Eriksen, Kane going through. We're starting to get that back a bit again with Romero now as part of that. Bentancur has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Kane. So we're starting to get that back.
I mean, not too long back under Pochettino, you arguably had the best spine in the league at one time. You know, as you say, Lloris and all that going through the team, and slowly just drifted away. And I think Tottenham lost their way a little bit. I think in Pochettino's last season, I mean, a lot of people say Daniel Levy didn't back him enough after the Champions League season coming into that season. You know, you make a final. Yes, it was against Liverpool. We're going to be strong favourites in that final. He played a fantastic game. Let's get it right. It was a great. Spurs played a great game. Probably a better team on the day. There's no doubt about that. But you know, it didn't. Pochettino, I didn't get the backing he totally deserved, in my opinion, watching that game, because I think that was a chance for Tottenham to go up a level after that final, and he never sort of got that backing. It all started to go a bit wrong for him. I don't think Pochettino coming out in interviews at that time saying things he did helped matters. Help matters either, but Tottenham had a great side under him, and he built something special under Tottenham. They had a great squad at the time. I mean, when Pochettino was there, Tottenham had arguably a better squad than Liverpool at the time, and that spine they had was fantastic. And as you say, getting back to it, Lloris. Now, Lloris has come in for some questions in recent months and stuff like that. Where do you stand on him? Because I still think he's the top draw goalkeeper.
He is. His concentration, I think, goes every now and then, and he makes a few mistakes. And I mean, every keeper makes a mistake, and it's always highlighted because generally a mistake equals a goal against you. Whereas if you're a striker, miss a sitter, you get another chance later, score the goal. The miss has all been forgotten. But yeah, he's got 2 years left. For me, we need a ready-made goalkeeper to take his place when he does retire or force him out in his last season. And we haven't got that at the moment. Galini's not up to it at all. I think we'll probably end up going for whoever gets relegated out of Pope and Pickford, although I'm not Pickford's biggest fan. I don't think he's that great. But Pope, I would love.
A good goalkeeper.
And then I think in the hope that you got relegated, he wants to play in the World Cup, he wants to play in the Premier League, we'll let you have him for a bit of cut price. But I mean, Lloris is the best goalkeeper we've got at the moment by quite a margin, so he has to play. But he's only got, I think, next season and the season after, or it might be this season and next season left. So what I don't want is a kind of a Peter Schmeichel Man United situation where you take a goalkeeper who no mistake about it, he's been brilliant for us, Lloris. He's been the best goalkeeper I've seen in my lifetime there.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
So it's massive shoes to fill, and I don't want a situation like when Schmeichel left, it took him about 5 years to get a goalkeeper of any standing. Yeah. I want one kind of ready-made, in the same way that Lloris had, when he came in when Brad Friedel was our number one, and then had to force his way in, and then he's been our goalkeeper for 10 years now. But yeah, he needs to cut the he needs to cut the mistakes out. He needs to cut the mistakes out, and they keep cropping up every now and then. During the lockdown, when no fans were allowed, he was unbelievable. I can't remember a mistake being made. And that was the best part of about half a season. And then they've started creeping in again, and teams, certainly Liverpool, who are a world-class team, will know his mistakes, and there'll be some pattern there, whether it be catching the ball or commanding, and they'll exploit that. And yeah, he just needs to cut that out, because he's a world-class goalkeeper on his day. Shot stopping is unbelievable. Some of his decisions and concentration are what let him down sometimes. But I'm hoping a settled defence now. You've had the same kind of back four for barring injuries, suspensions and all that, and ad hoc games here and there for, I don't know how many years now. So it's no surprise that they're all comfortable with each other, communicate with each other. Whereas under Mourinho, when we had a different back four every single game, it's no surprise he was making mistakes there, because you don't know what the defender wants to do. You don't know what the defenders don't know what the goalkeeper wants to do. The defender doesn't know what the defensive partner wants to do. Where seemingly now we seem to have a settled back five. It is now, and the goalkeeper as well. So I'm hoping that will help calm him down a little bit. But he needs to cut those out. And I want a ready-made goalkeeper when he retires. But then it's all money, and then this is Daniel Levy. So
Yes,
Who knows? Who knows?
That was the thing I see with Tottenham fans a lot saying about Daniel Levy, and he's a bit tight with his with the old cash.
I mean, he has spent money. 60 million on Ndombele, 40 million on Lo Celso, other players as well. He spent every single penny of that Bale money. It's just where you sent Coutinho, there was a plan. We sell Coutinho. We need a goalkeeper, world-class goalkeeper. We need a world-class centre-back. These are the two that I want, 75 million a pop, or whatever it was. Net loss of 8-10 million or whatever. But there was a clear plan, and you got the players out and in that the manager wanted. Whereas it seems to be Levy gets the players in he wants. If he wants a certain player, if manager wants a certain player, it's always a cheaper alternative. Apparently, Pochettino was on record as saying he wanted Mane when he was at Southampton for 30 million. And we ended up getting Clinton and G because he was 10 million, not 30 million. And unbelievable. And then there's talk of all that happening quite a lot. Wijnaldum was another one, and we got Sissoko. So it's not that he hasn't spent the money; it's the fact that he hasn't spent the money on what the manager wants. And I think I'm not. We should have strengthened after the Champions League final, but for me, it was a 16-17 season that summer. We finished second on 86 points, I think, which the season before, when Leicester won, it would have been enough to win it. That was when you need to really, really take the step up, because take the step up to go win the league, certainly make a challenge again.
Totally.
And yeah, we were static, and then the season after that is when we didn't sign anyone in 2 transfer windows, and that's why we're in the situation we are now, because everyone's moved forward and we stood still for a year, 18 months, and you can't do that.
And the year's massive in football,
and that falls down onto the chairman. I'm not someone who 100% Levy out. I want him out because of the Super Cup business, Super League business, sorry. But he has spent money. It's just not in the right areas and not what the manager wants, and which is completely. I mean, a turning point for both of our clubs was 4-1 at Wembley when we beat you. You ended up spending that money, and you've achieved whatever you've achieved, and we've regressed, and it all comes down to you spent the money on the players that you needed and Klopp wanted.
Yeah,
we didn't, and.
Yeah, that was the season. Yeah, Lovren. Kane absolutely destroyed Lovren's career that game. And we went and got Van Dijk.
And then that's where Levy has failed, I think. And Pochettino took the price for that. He said we needed a rebuild. Levy ignored him. Pochettino gets fired. We're still looking at that rebuild now.
Trying to rebuild,
3 managers later, and however many years later.
Right, let's get to these comments, and I want to talk about Conte, because I just love Conte. He's let's get to him in a minute. All right, Mitch says it's all right. The Everton will play Dele again, and you'll get 50 mil. Yeah, I mean, that's Dele Alli. What has happened to Dele Alli? Newcastle's bald head fraud battering incoming. Yes, John. Big up, guys. That you're both well. John, you still looking for accommodation? I still heard John in there. Chris seems a nice lad. His demeanour won't be the same Saturday night. Chris is all right. I just ordered the new home kit delivery on 19th of May. What did everyone think of the new strip? Roger, I'm not a massive fan of it. I'm not a lover of Nike, full stop, but it looks like a looser fit. I'm a bit chubby, so these Nike kits can be a bit tight. You know what I mean? You have to go a bit. You have to go a bit up for us big lads. So the new Liverpool one looks a bit of a looser fit, but I'm not. £100 for a top is just ridiculous, isn't it? It's sick, isn't it? I think I'm just a bit old. I mean, I'm just Nike. I'm not a lover of Nike, I've got to say.
No. It's £100 a season, isn't it? I remember back in the 90s, it was £40-50 for a shirt that they wore for 2-3 seasons running, and now it's all that happens is a little white line appears there, and it's £100 for a new shirt. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
What happened to the days when we all used to get a home shirt, didn't you? And that would be 2 seasons, and the only away shirt would change. I think is it Burnley? No, Brentford are keeping their same home shirt for next season. Yeah, big up Brentford.
I mean, it's obviously the money, the extra wages, the extra players costing. They need to make the money back somehow. But it's
all the shirt deals and everything. They just want it all. Normally I buy knockoff kits. Really like the Red Side to get legit this time. Big up. Martins, if we want nice kits, we need to sign with Kappa. Oh, do you remember the Italian Kappa kits?
We had them. They were really tight fitting ones.
Nothing's worse than Puma away kits. Jesus Christ.
Well, the Kappa ones, because they were kind of skin tight. If you're wearing it and playing football, you can't take it off.
No, especially when it got wet, weren't it?
Yeah, you couldn't take it off. You had to wait until you'd cool down.
What are them Puma away kits like Man City wore last night? They look like pajama tops, don't they? They are embarrassing. By the way, did anyone see, just change subject quick, did anyone see how Man City turned up yesterday at the Bernabeu? Their pre-game. Now you always wear either the team tracksuit or a suit or something, turn up for the game. Did you not see Man City's attire, what they all had to wear? Rolled up skinny jeans and a Man City t-shirt with the logo right in the middle, like a kid would wear. That was their attire. All the players are in these rolled up jeans, really tight fitting, and like a t-shirt with Man City in the middle. So embarrassing. Embarrassing, man.
Was it worse than your white suit?
Do you know what?
90s?
I think I'd rather wear the white suit. It was that bad. that white suit was terrible. That was Jamie Redknapp's idea as well. Yeah. Jamie Redknapp and John Barnes' idea, apparently. Jamie, have you seen the video of the kit reveal? It makes me so proud of it. As fist pumping. Yeah, I saw. These kit reveal videos are massive now, aren't they? Absolutely huge. But getting off that, Antonio Conte, the Italian Don, is your manager now, Chris. And what are you thinking of him so far since he's come to the club?
It can only be good stuff from where we were, where Nuno took over. And Nuno, I think he was in over his head a little bit. And the way that he played with Kane and Son up there, he got two of the best strikers, wingers, whatever, or forwards in the league. And he didn't involve them in the game at all. No wonder we didn't score any goals. Can't have been very fun for them to play again. Either. Conte came in, shook it up a little bit, and now we're in a top 4 race. So it can only be good stuff. And we've got one of the top managers in the game in his prime. He's less than a year ago he won the Serie A with Inter. Yeah. Whereas Mourinho, we got someone who has passed his prime. His prime was years gone past. He might still do stuff for Roma in terms of winning the Conference League. But yeah, Conte, we've got an in-form manager right now. Kane loves him. I know you don't like Kane, but for us, keeping Kane is imperative. And
you got to keep.
I think he has quite a lot of clout in the dressing room, Kane. So if he's happy, I think that's going to make quite a lot of people. And if he's happy, he's playing well, which then in turn makes Son play well, and Kulusevski now as well. We have to back Conte in the summer. Otherwise, I think he will walk, and then Levy really, really is in trouble in terms of the fans. And Spurs fans will say, I want us to spend a lot of money. But for me, I don't care how much money we spend. When Conte says he wants someone, you go out and get him. Conte isn't going to go, I want Mbappe and Haaland, because he's not stupid and knows he can't get those. So, and Kulusevski and Bentancur have showed that you don't need to spend 50 million, 60 million for a good player. It just needs to be someone who has the attributes that fit your system.
Exactly.
So if we can get Champions League, that's a bonus. If not, it doesn't change the fact he just needs to be back so we can get Champions League next year. But some of his tactical decisions have been a bit strange. What was the last game that we played? Was it Brentford 0-0. Yeah. Needed to win that game. 82 minutes was the first attacking substitution he made, which I don't really understand. I know if you're drawing, don't lose, but at least have a go. And some decisions like that are baffling. But I guess every manager in the world in history has made strange substitutions or tactical decisions. Of course but I mean, and who am I to question Antonio Conte? I sit at home. My football management career is playing football manager for the best part of 2 years. So who am I to question Antonio Conte when he's achieved what he's achieved?
One of the best in the game.
Yeah, and if we can get top 4, then even better. But needs to be backed in the summer. If he isn't backed in the summer, he could leave. If he leaves, Kane will get upset depending on who we get. And then the wheels could come off again, and Levy's going to be in a lot of trouble with fans. Certainly, it's the same as like a political race. It's not the ones who have made their decision whether they like you or not, that you need to convince. It's the people who are on the fence and umming and ahhing. And I think if he doesn't back Conte and Conte leaves, a lot of the umming and ahhers are going to go to Levy out, and then he's going to have even more people against him and making their feelings known at the stadium. So he has to back Conte and push on next season. But if we can get Champions League, then unbelievable from Conte from where we were when he joined us.
Yeah, bang on. I mean, when I look at Conte, as you say, he don't ask for a particular person. He just asks for a person that fits his system he wants to play. I mean, if you look at when he won the league with Chelsea, he played the 3-4-3, and he had like Victor Moses as his wing back for most of that season, and he won the league with them sort of players. That he don't, as you say, he's not asking for the Mbappes of this world, people like that. He wants players that are fit. I mean, look at when he was at Inter Milan. Look at the players he bought at Inter Milan. He had Ashley Young and stuff like that, playing wing back because it suited his system, and he knew he can get something out of them. So, as you say, he's not going to ask for the world. He just wants players to fit that system. You look at it like Bentancur. Was it 20 odd million Bentancur you bought him for?
Yeah. I think it was about 15 or 16 actually, but yeah.
Yeah, great bit of business. And as a Tottenham fan, you hope that you get Kulusevski through as well. Romero through as well, was just a diamond of a defender. Romero, absolutely fantastic. He's going to be one of the top defenders in European football in a couple of years' time. I'm telling you, if he keeps going at this moment in time. And no, as I say, you've got to back Conte. You've got one of the elite managers in world football. If he wants someone, you just got to go, all right, we'll get him for you because we trust you because who you are and your pedigree. But, well, weren't you after him at the beginning of the season? Because what happened there?
There's talk, wasn't there, that he said he wasn't ready. But, I mean, you get so many people on Twitter now who are in the know, and one story has about 10 possible outcomes. So, unless it comes from Conte's mouth, Levy's mouth, a Spurs official, I don't buy anything. So there were stories that we didn't make assurances of what he'd get in terms of players and everything like that. So turned us down. Then there's what he said, which I wasn't ready because I just left Inter. So I have no idea. But
and then he joined a few months later. So it's all a bit.
I have no idea. But I mean, if it was Levy not making the assurances and we didn't get him, and we've wasted how much time and money for compensation on Nuno, we'd be comfortably in fourth now. And but people who are Levy out say it's Levy who messed it up. People who are Levy in say it's Conte who didn't want to go because that's what he said. Who knows, to be honest? Who knows?
No, I do like Conte. I think if he stays at Tottenham next season, because this is the thing, obviously, Conte is a wildfire. The man argues with anyone. He probably argues with himself in the mirror. The man he likes a fight. He does like an argument. I mean, he had all the riches from Rome and still want. I mean, he's just one of them characters. I just think it's brilliant for football anyway. Is a question here: is Kane leaving Spurs next year? Because I don't think he's got long left in his contract, has he?
He's got 2 years now. But if Conte stays, he stays. I think he'll stay anyway, unless wheels really fall off. Because, like I say, he's 24 goals, I think, behind Jimmy Greaves' record. Yeah, that will put him in legendary status. It's going to take years and years for anyone to beat that. And I think if Conte leaves, then he could. But again,
where does he go? This is the problem.
Yeah, you've got this issue. Is Levy's going to want all of this money? And I was arguing with a friend. He's a United fan, moaning, talking about Declan Rice, and Declan Rice says he wants to leave. West Ham are entitled to ask for 150 million, where apparently Levy was out of order by not letting Kane leave. That's because of the gentleman's agreement. But it was a gentleman's agreement. You can leave if someone comes into for you. There was no element of you can leave for X amount. The money wasn't listed. So Levy wants 150 million. Then you can leave. If someone comes in for that, he'd have let him leave. City took the mick out of us a little bit. I think 70 million plus add-ons or something.
And they
hardly anything. And it's exactly the same that Newcastle are going to have when someone wants a player. If they want a player who's in contract, they're going to have to pay a fortune because they can afford it with 320 billion in the bank. But exactly. I mean, Kane might leave on a free because I think Levy's going to ask for too much money. and in the hope that he can sign a new contract. But you can guarantee this time, if he does sign a contract, there's a release clause in that if we don't get Champions League, which I can't believe that at all. I mean, Levy saw him and his brother or his agent coming, without a release clause. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, in answer to the question there, if Conte stays, Kane will stay, I think, regardless of whether we finish 4th, 5th, 6th, wherever.
Yeah, he's got a manager in there he can see a future with, and that's very important. And you don't get to play under managers like Conte much in your career. So,
well, he loved Jose as well. I think that played a big part in that summer as well. That he loved Jose. He was in a cup final, and the whole Jose thing was an absolute complete waste of time.
Yeah,
you bring Jose in to win you a cup or a trophy. You get into a final, and then you sack him 6 days before. So it's a complete waste of time. And I think that really showed the
crazy.
Not the mentality. I can't think of the word when you're aiming high and I can't think of the word, but it really showed that to Kane that they don't really care. They don't really care, and
that's why
I want to win trophies. They're worried about money, and hopefully now they've learned their lesson and will give Conte what he wants. He stays. We can build a team and maybe win something next year.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. He said, thanks for clearing that up about Kane. Well said. I mean, I think Kane, is he 30 by the end of his contract?
Yeah, I think he's 28 now, isn't he?
So it'd be like just coming up to 30. So, at that age, free transfer. I just don't know where Harry Kane goes, to be fair. No. If he was going to go, it would have been last summer to Man City. Man City took the piss. They went and spent 100 million on Jack Grealish, but we'll put money on Harry Kane.
I think if Mbappe and Haaland weren't around this summer, there could be another bidding war for Kane. But Haaland is 60 million, absolute snip for that. Mbappe's free. So I think you could get a Man United going in for Kane, but I don't know why you go to Man United if you're at Tottenham, because we're going to finish ahead of them.
You would go to Man United right now, would you? No chance.
But I think that Jimmy Greaves record, I think that will be on his head as well. Unless something goes really, really, really wrong there from now until the transfer window, I think he'll stay regardless. Certainly for next season.
He's a Tottenham boy. And look, all that talk about, has he got any, does he want to win things? Has he got in to want to win things and stuff like that? At the end of the day, look, Matt Letizia was one of the best footballers I've ever seen. Tremendous footballer. Could have gone anywhere if he wanted to. Stayed at Southampton his whole career because it's the club he wanted to play for. Alan Shearer could have gone to Man United, but he went to Newcastle. And, it's just that sort. I think, look, if I got asked to play for Liverpool for the rest, I would play for Liverpool for my whole life. You know what I mean? Even if he didn't win a thing. I think sometimes for certain people, they are ambitious, but look, of course, Harry Kane's ambitious. No one can say saying he's not ambitious would be silly. Of course, he's ambitious, but he wants to be ambitious for Tottenham Hotspur.
I think
that's the thing. He wants to be ambitious for Tottenham Hotspur, and you've got more of a chance for that with Antonio Conte in charge of your club.
Yeah,
and for that, you've got to back him at the same time, as you say.
People forget with Kane as well. He's been in 3 finals, countless semi-finals. A couple of them where he was injured. He should never have started that Champions League final. For me, it should have been more. I think that was a part of Poch's downfall as well. You've got a guy who's had the game of his life. Sorry, he had dropped. I think he should have started there. But anyway.
No, you're right.
He had another one, the League Cup final. I think that we lost to City when Jose was sacked just before. He was slightly injured there, coming back. So he has had chances to win things. But whether he goes missing in big games or not is up for debate. Obviously, opposition fans say that's the case, but he has scored some big goals. But yeah, he's had chances to win stuff with us and just hasn't happened.
No.
So it's not like we're finishing 6th, getting knocked out in quarterfinals every year, and then that's the closest he's going to get. He has had chances and title challenge once or twice. And like you say, if we can get Conte what he wants, get a squad there, there's no reason we couldn't win an FA Cup, League Cup, or whatever European competition we're in next year.
No, exactly. I've got time for Spurs. There's I hate Arsenal with a passion, like you would. I absolutely hate Arsenal with a passion. I can't stand them. I hate their fan base. I don't want them to get 4th. I want you guys to get 4th because I'd rather Spurs. There's nothing against Spurs. I think that a Liverpool and Spurs rivalry sometimes is built more online between people having pot shots at each other. Yeah. Like at the moment, the pot shots between Kulusevski and Diaz because they both came in at January, and it just gets silly. They're both quality players, and they're doing it for two different teams at this moment. Diaz is just doing it at this moment in time at the higher end of the game, and Kulusevski's 21, who plays like he's 27 because he's so mature for his age, and he's a superb player. But I hope, mate. Obviously, I want you to lose Saturday. No disrespect, but I want you to lose Saturday.
Right back at you.
Yeah, but I want you to get fourth at the end. I still want you to get fourth.
Well, I want you to. I don't want you to do the quadruple because that would. I want us to do that eventually at some point. But I want you to win the league just because I can't stand Man City. You spent a lot of money, like I said, but that all came from the Coutinho transfer, which was reinvested. And then you obviously had your transfer budget for that season anyway. Whereas Man City, £1 billion he spent, more than that, and act like they're a big team and built a team. He hasn't built anything. And
no.
I just can't stand Man City, so I want you to win the league. But obviously, I want you to win it after having a loss on Saturday.
No, that's how it should be for you. That's how it should be. So talking of the game, so obviously when we last played, it was 2-2. So what is the name? What should we call your stadium? Do you just call it White Hart Lane? You Tottenham fans, you still call it White Hart Lane?
Some people do, but it's called the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We still haven't got any sponsorship for it. It's just.
I heard it was going to be the Nike Stadium at one time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I would imagine Levy's asking for too much money, and
why can't you just call it White Hart Lane? It's White Hart Lane, then. It's built on the same bloody ground.
Well, I did the stadium tour at White Hart Lane and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and White Hart Lane was a football stadium. This is an entertainment complex, so
it's lost something. American football as well, ain't it?
Yeah, whereas White Hart Lane was just, I love White Hart Lane
because I remember, I think in the lockdown period, I think the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was the only stadium in the country where both home and away teams could go in their changing rooms because they're so big. Because they made the changing rooms big enough for American football teams to be in, didn't they? So the changing rooms in the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is huge.
Yeah, I think we went into the NFL changing room, which is absolutely massive, and I think the opposition had our football home stadium, our home changing rooms.
Yeah, it's a lovely stadium you got, I have to say. Spurs had a great January transfer, to be fair. Yeah, they had a great January transfer. And I hope that they do Arsenal as well, because I can't stand them and their arrogant fan base. The Arsenal fan base, Jesus Christ. But they'll win 3 games and Arsenal are back. We're back. Arteta's the greatest. He's as good as Klopp and Pep, and he's the new Pep and all this. Then they lose 3 games in a row and they're like, oh, it's over. It's just bipolar FC. That's what they should be called. You know what I mean? It's just I can't stand. I want you to get 4th really badly and smash them in the North London derby. What is that? 12th of May? Is that next week?
It's a Thursday. So is that the 12th?
And I will say right now. I know some Liverpool fans not be happy with this, but for me, the North London derby is the best derby in football in the Premier League.
Really?
Anyway. I think it's the most entertaining. Liverpool and Everton's not really, because it's not competitive anymore. Everton's so bad. No. It's just 6 points.
Liverpool, Man United.
But it's not really a derby, is it? It's not the same city. It's the biggest game. For me, the biggest game in football now is Manchester City, Liverpool. I think that's the biggest actual. It used to be Barcelona, Real Madrid. I think City, Liverpool is now the biggest game in Europe. But for a derby, for a proper derby, where they're both in the same bloody city, for me, Tottenham and Arsenal is the most fun, and they're always entertaining games, and the rivalry online as well, the bitterness. Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I love
the stadium is going to, certainly if we're in with a shout of if we beat Arsenal, we go ahead of them or pull away from them after the Liverpool game, the stadium will be so loud. But then even if we have to win because we're 5 points adrift, it'll be so loud as well. And if players can't get up for that kind of atmosphere, there's something wrong.
To answer your question, Cole, the reason a European final has never been held at Anfield before, because in UEFA's rule book, a stadium has to be bigger than 52,000 to hold a European final. And before that, Anfield was 46. Now it's 52,000. And I think it's going up to 60,000 with the new main stand being built. So Anfield can hold European finals now, but before that, the rule book was it had to be 52,000. which I didn't know until I went on the Liverpool tour one day a few years back, and they explained it on that. But apparently that's the rule. But see some of the shit stadium. I think that stadium's coming because after the Heysel disaster, because of what happened in Heysel in 1986, because of what happened there, they brought that rule into place, which, yeah, fair enough. So, last game time we met was a 2-2 draw at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, that's what they call it now. And it was a feisty old game, this one. Feisty old game.
Should have been 2 sendings off. Well, there was one for you, but there should have been. How Harry Kane stayed on, I don't know. But then
Harry Kane got away. Yeah, definitely. With that, it was the foul on Robbo as well at the end of the day. And then Robbo, I don't have no complaints over Robbo's red card. It was a red card. Harry Kane, you said, should have been sent off as well.
Yeah, this is where VAR is just. I don't know how you can look at that when you've got different angles, slow down, and decide it's a yellow. I love Harry Kane, but he should have been going for that and 3-game ban. And I don't understand how referees who allegedly understand the game, because that's who's in Stockley Park looking at these things, how they can see that as not a red. I just don't understand it. But then,
VAR, we could have a bloody 4-hour stream on VAR. It's just, I always say VAR gets everything wrong and everything right for every team in the league. But the more higher end you are, the bigger name you are, it's more highlighted. But I was going on their website and I didn't realise that Everton had the most overturned VAR decisions in the league for penalties.
Have they?
This season. But because they're down at the bottom, it's not highlighted. But when Liverpool get away with saying, or Man City get away with saying, Man United get away with saying, it's more highlighted because of the sizes of the clubs.
The other thing it doesn't take into consideration is if you're getting all your penalties, which should be penalties but aren't given when you're winning 4-0, and then you get one the other way round and it makes you lose the game 1-0. It doesn't take into account the time that it happens or the result that gets caused by it. And it was brought in, wasn't it? Like clear and obvious errors, and then people are offside by a toenail. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
What is clear and obvious? I've never understood this. If the referee's got it wrong, it's clear and obvious, surely. Well, so the ref's got it wrong and he's not seen it, then it's clear and obvious.
What's I think offside is. It was last season, I think, wasn't it, when Patrick Bamford was offside because his hand was offside? I missed the rule change where you're allowed to do a Maradona. But, and then all of these people are offside when they score a header, which their head is onside, but their foot is offside, and it's just too complicated.
There needs to be some allowance.
And then the handball rule now for goals, I couldn't tell you what that is. It's changed so many times, and I couldn't tell you what that is, and it's just so complicated now. All these rules made up by people who have never ever played football in their life don't understand it, and it's been going on for years. Aguero getting booked for taking his shirt off when he basically won in the game in the last second.
I don't get that rule.
It's different if it's Adebayor going and running half length of the pitch to the opposition fans, but Aguero was celebrating with his own fans, and Damari Gray, after the Leicester chairman had died, and then he had a shirt on which message to the chairman. Absolutely disgrace getting a yellow card for that, and just rules made up by idiots who have never played football in their life and don't understand what it means.
They don't know the joy of scoring a goal. The happiness and the excitement you get from scoring a goal. It's just, you can't help yourself. I'll take my shorts off, so I'll be red carded. So it's 2-2 in the game. Obviously, Harry Kane getting a goal in the 30th minute, taking the lead, equalising, and then Andy Robinson putting us in the lead, and then obviously getting sent off not long after that, and then Son equalising. It was a tasty old game. I want to just go through the lineups of both teams in that game because it's going to be so different this time around. So obviously, with Spurs, they set up with Lloris in goal, David Sanchez, Emerson Royale, good God, Eric Dyer, Ryan Sessegnon.
You're telling me, yeah. Bloody hell.
Ryan Sessegnon, who I forgot sometimes was a Spurs player because there's so much hype about Sessegnon before he came to Spurs, but he looks like he's settling in now. Ben Davies, Harry Winks, obviously Dele Alli played that game, and Ndombele played that game, and Son and Kane were the forwards. For Liverpool, we had Alisson, Kanate, Robbo, Matip, and Trent. So there was no Virgil for this game, obviously. And then in midfield, we had Tyler Morton, James Milner, and Naby Keita. Jesus. And in the forwards was Mane, Salah, and Jota. So that wasn't too bad. So very different lineups tomorrow on Saturday night. Sorry, very, very different lineups. Yeah, I mean Liverpool definitely. I mean they go probably Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho. It's going to be totally different midfield. Virgil
your midfield would have been kind of decimated a little bit for that game, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think with injuries and African nations, I think it was
all over the shop.
Yeah,
and obviously you had Dele Alli and Ndombele in your midfield. No Kulusevski, and now so we'll go on lineup. So what do you think your predicted lineup for the game will be for Spurs?
Lloris in goal. Unfortunately, Emerson. Reguilon's apparently out injured for the rest of the season, so that means Sessegnon's playing. Hopefully he does play. Otherwise, we've got to have Sanchez back in and Davies on the left. But I think it will be Davies, Dyer, Romero. I imagine it will be Højbjerg, Bentancur, and then our front three.
Yeah, I mean, Kulusevski's it like around running.
We played three in midfield against you, and then, I mean, we both had chances. We had really clear-cut chances, about 6.
Open game, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you had a lot of chances, not as clear-cut, so maybe our three in midfield didn't work. But I think he'll stick with what we've been playing, and which is those two holding midfielders, Bentancur and Højbjerg. But, I mean, Van Dijk will be back, and generally he's bullied Kane. Striker versus defender, but it's going to be slightly different now, as I said, I think, because you'll attack us. Kane will be able to drop deep. Van Dijk can't really follow him.
I mean, that's an interesting lineup. I mean, when I look at Kane lately.
And so, like you said as well, with your high line, that will suit Kane dropping deep. Kulusevski, Son running behind and ball over the top.
Now, I've seen some Liverpool fans have said it lately, like, I mean, you look at the Brentford game and the Brighton game in comparison, you say, like, if you stop Harry Kane, you stop Tottenham almost. But what Liverpool will do, Liverpool don't look at it like that. Liverpool just play their game. They won't go to, right, we've got to stop Harry Kane. Liverpool just play their game, do their thing. And that's why we do give up chances to teams.
Yeah.
Because the way we play. And I know I don't mind about it because I like the way we play at the moment. I'm not going against what Klopp wants to do. You know what I mean? He's getting it right so far. And
9 times out of 10, you're going to outscore the opposition. So they work, don't they?
I don't mind conceding 1 if we're going to score 3 at some time. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to do it. We play that risky game of football. It's risky. And we'll play that against Tottenham, which is going to be very nervy, especially for Liverpool fans, because we are going to give up chances for Son, Kulusevski and Kane to get in behind, and it will happen. But Harry Kane, he's, as you say there, he's dropping deep now, and I think the reason he's dropping deep because you ain't got that creative player in behind at the moment. If you had that creative player, I think Harry would stay right up as a proper number 9 and get his goal. That's why he's not scoring the goals he usually does at the moment, because he is coming deep and being the creative spark for you. He's almost like a Teddy Sheringham at the moment, ain't he? But when I listen to Harry Kane apparently likes that mixture of a role he's playing at the moment. I've heard things him saying that he's always seen himself more. I think it was about a year or so ago, he was talking to Sky about it, and he said he always sees himself more as the Teddy Sheringham kind of footballer than the Alan Shearer kind of attacker. But for me, when I watch Harry, look, I've said my thing about Harry Kane. I'm not going to take away the player. The player's world class, and he'd get in any front line probably. But he needs, for me, if I was a Spurs fan, I'd want to see Harry as my out-and-out number 9 and not dropping deep. Because sometimes I think he drops too deep in games when I watch him. Sometimes
he's trying to get involved, isn't he? But I think Spurs fans would say the same if they didn't have Son, because Son is super clinical as well. He's well clinical. Obviously, Kane is super clinical. If you didn't have Son, maybe a Moura up there who isn't as clinical, the chance is going to fall to him, and he's not as clinical. So you'd want Kane up there. But it doesn't really matter who gets 1-on-1, Kane or Son. Generally, it's a goal in the same way that Mane, Salah, Diaz. If they're 1-on-1, it doesn't really matter which one.
Totally. And so I'm just going to go through what I think will be Liverpool's 11. Obviously, we had that Champions League game, but weren't too hard. I know we were 2-0 down, but I always knew we was going to come back in that game because we're just too good at the moment going forward. And, personally, I think Liverpool got to go strong for this game. So I'm going to go Alisson in goal, Trent and Robbo as our fullbacks. I'm going to go Konate with Van Dijk because Son is extremely quick. Son's going to be on that Trent side of the pitch more than likely. And I don't think Son's going to want to attack Virgil. So if he's going to attack anyone, it's going to be on that more of that right-hand side for Liverpool. And if Konate is playing there, Konate is extremely quick. And he can cover them areas. So that's why I'm going to go with Konate. That's been my back four. Thiago has to play at the moment. He's just fantastic form.
He was unbelievable against Man United. Talk about how bad Man United were, but his passing was superb. I mean, just ran that game.
I mean, we've got Bayern Munich. This is Bayern Munich Thiago now that we bought in the first place. It's just, he always had it. He just weren't fit. He's properly fit now, and we're seeing the benefit from it. And then I have Fabinho, and then Hendo next to him. We need a captain. I love. Look, Kate is getting better and better now. He's starting to improve. He's getting fitter as well. But for the big games like this, I'd still go Henderson in our midfield.
I can't believe he was taken off. Sorry to cut you off. I can't believe he was taken off in the Euros final. He'd have been perfect to take a penalty. Just someone who's been there, done it, rather than a 19-year-old, and just make sure you score it rather than try anything clever or anything like that. I can't believe he was taken off. And
you just need that leadership on the pitch. Man, he's one of them. I love Hendo. I know a lot of Liverpool fans are sometimes split on Hendo, but yes, he ain't got the technical ability of Steven Gerrard, but not many people have. So it's just it's just because he took over the captain's armband from Stevie, and it's been for and there's always going to be comparisons, but for me, arguably, I've said it for a while now, and a lot of Liverpool fans think fans think the same. Arguably, Hendo's a better captain than Stevie was. His leadership skills are amazing. It's just that Stevie was just a world-class footballer. But I love Hendo. He's our leader on the pitch. He's on the pitch.
He's got better players around him as well. Sometimes you're kind of a one-man team with Gerrard.
He just gave him the ball.
Henderson's got it's more get the ball, give it to someone who can do stuff with it, whereas a lot of the time Gerrard had to do it himself. Yeah,
we used to just give the ball to Stevie and hope he'd win us the game and get us out of trouble. That's how it used to be. And, I just wish Stevie was like 28 now and playing in this team. It'd be ridiculous. But and then the front three, I've got to go Diaz on the left because I just think he's just absolutely mustard. And Salah on the right and Mane through the middle. That would be my three at the moment.
But I mean, if Diaz is on the left, you want to give him the ball every single time because Emerson will not be able to cope with that.
On the right,
but that's where certainly against Man City, where Kulusevski is brilliant going forward and playing with Son and Kane, but certainly against Man City, I think it was Cancelo who was putting Emerson under pressure. Yeah. Kulusevski, his discipline to get back and help the fullback. I think that'll be a crucial thing in this game as well.
Yeah, you're going to need to double up on Diaz.
I mean, because Emerson is without a doubt our weak link. I feel a little bit sorry for him, but I'm finding it more difficult to defend him these days.
It was.
But it's a real shame Doherty got injured because he was playing really well, and we had the man Doherty that we bought playing in a wing-back situation, which is how he made his...
Exactly.
Whereas Emerson is a full-back that we're now playing as a wing-back. And so I think that side with Kulusevski and his discipline will be huge.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you see... I remember Conte at Chelsea, he played midfielders as his wing-backs, didn't he? And do you think that's something he might sort of go to with his Spurs team, with his wing-backs? Because that's how he likes to play.
Yeah,
he use more of a midfielder, wingers maybe as his wing backs and defenders.
With the squad that we've got, I'd have to say that the only one I can see doing that is a Bergwijn, because like Kulusevski, he's got when he hit the post against you last year, he was up and down that side all game. So his energy and understanding of the defensive side of being on the wing, he's the only one I can see being transferred in. But I think it's not the right game to play as Stephen Bergwijn.
No. You need a more defensive as a wing back. But when I look at Bergwijn, I look at him and think, you could be absolutely mustard if you wanted to be. They're saying about him that he looks, I don't know what it is. It might be because he's short and stocky, but he always looks overweight to me. I don't know about you. It might be just because he's short and stocky, but I think like he could trim down just a little bit, and I think he would be. But I look at Bergwijn and think, why aren't you better than what you are? Sometimes
I think he was when we played you last year and he hit the post. I think he was playing really well.
Yeah.
And then he obviously hit the post, which I think Alisson's reputation preceded him there. He's kind of looked up one-on-one. It's like, oh my God, I've got Alisson who's top. I'm going to have to really put this in the corner. And he's just overcooked it a little bit, hit the post. And then he gets death threats, racism online. I think it I think it completely destroyed his confidence. He's a young man. He's a young man who's moved his young family, moved country and everything like that. In the league, he doesn't really know. Players he doesn't really know because he hadn't been there that long. And then he gets death threats. It seemed to kill his confidence. And then he got injured and he never kind of got that back. And then he scored a couple of goals. Then the season ended. Then he scored another goal. And then Kulusevski comes in. So, I think if he'd have scored that goal against Liverpool at Anfield and we'd have won that match, I think you'd be seeing a very different Steven Bergwijn now because I think the not so much the hitting the post, the aftermath of it online, which is just disgraceful.
Oh, totally.
I think completely killed his confidence, unfortunately. But I think there's a player in there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting for him to explode because you can definitely tell he's got the ability. And, I mean, I've liked him ever since he got the winner against Man City. So, you can't go no wrong in my eyes. I just think there's a player in there that's just waiting to explode. And if he did, he could be a handful for everybody. Because he has got this skilled technique, he's got the pace, he's got the ability. He just seems to I don't know, it's like he don't believe in himself sometimes. Like I think we say that Naby Keita's the same. Naby Keita, we look at him and it's like, you're a fucking good player. But he plays within himself so much. It's like when he does something magical. When Keita does something magical, he can't believe it. It's like you are capable of this. Just believe in yourself a bit more. But there's a lot of these players, I think, are confidence players, like the arm around the shoulder.
Well, I think football's changed. Like we found that out, I think, with Jose. There's the days of like a John Terry, a Frank Lampard, a Rio Ferdinand, and Ibrahimovic, a Ronaldo, where you can give players an absolute shouting down, bollocking, are gone now. You've got all the players now like a Dele Alli and people like that who need the arm around the shoulder. You can't have a go at them because they don't know how to cope with it. And I think football now is, if you're like if you're going to be playing for like a Liverpool or a City or someone like that, or even a Tottenham, you know that by about 7 years old. I think, well, I don't know, but I think they probably forego their education a little bit, knowing that they'll get all the money they ever need from football. And they don't have the maturity there to deal with tellings off and things like that. Whereas back in the day, you earn a lot of money playing football, but then when you finish at 35 or whatever, it's not enough to just retire on unless you've invested it really wisely. So you've got to get an education and
No, I agree. I agree. So I look at Dele Alli and I think he needs. I think he needs help a little bit, Dele Alli, and someone to talk to because he just looks lost, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, I think he cares more about his sponsorships, his computer games and stuff like that. And I think it's what I was talking about. He doesn't need to do anything. He's made all of his millions now. He's got enough money
to set him up for life. Does he?
And I think it used to be Kane is a kind of one-off. I think there'll be other players as well, but plays football because he wants to play football. He's already said money's not important. It's about playing football. I think a lot of players now, and Asu Akoto started it in 2008 or whenever it was when he came to us. He goes, I don't particularly like football. I'm good at it. And it pays me a lot of money. I think a lot of players now, certainly young players, are in that mindset. This sorts me out for life. This does. And they're not playing it for the love of the game. They're only playing it for money, and they get paid regardless if they sit on the bench or not. So it doesn't really matter, and it's a bit of a shame.
That's why clubs have got to look after their young players. Don't put them on monster wages straight away. Don't be stupid. It's like,
that's where we've been quite good with. Yeah, we've got Ollie Skip. So Ollie Skip, he's out for the rest of the season. Didn't he? 50 grand or 40 grand, or the figures again. It's depending on which account you look on Twitter, but it's not a massive amount, and that's not enough to kind of set you up for life. And I think that's the way to go, like Harvey Elliott, like you say, whereas if you give them 100 grand a week, they could lose the love of the game because they don't need to really do anything. I think that's what's happened with Dele Alli, which is a real shame because he was.
Yeah.
And I think as well, he's a player. Like Mo Salah's like that as well. Mo Salah at Chelsea was fairly rubbish.
Yeah.
Whereas he goes to Liverpool, which Liverpool is all about. You'll know better than me, but from the outside looking in, it's about the strikers. Everyone else fits around. It's about getting the strikers in the game. And he's at a club now which suits his game to the ground. And it's no surprise that he's doing all of that, what he's doing. Whereas at Chelsea, it's not about that. It's about building the play up. Whereas Dele Alli is far better off the ball than on the ball. His passing isn't good enough. But we had Eriksen who would drift around, create so much space, ping it to Son 50 yards, who'd be one-on-one instantly, skim the bloke. Someone has to come out, so much space in there. Dele Alli can ghost in and then do what he does.
Yep.
Once we lost Eriksen, it was all about building the play up, and then there wasn't that space anymore, and he's not good enough on the ball. Game. And I think he has lost the love him as well and got more involved in his sponsorship and computer games and stuff like that because whereas if he goes to a team, I'm not sure. If he went to Liverpool, he'd probably be all right because, again, there's so much space there because of how quickly you move the ball and drag people out of positions. And I think Poch's system with Eriksen there, Dembele as well, who was so underrated.
Yeah.
I think suited him down to the ground. And that's when you saw the best Dele Alli.
Oh, Dembele, what a player he was.
Oh, so underrated, Dembele.
Oh. But yeah, with Dele Alli, I think Liverpool and Tottenham were both in for him at the same time. But Liverpool said they couldn't guarantee him first team football and they put him into the under 23s. And I think Spurs said he'd be part of the first team squad, and that's why he went to Spurs. But yeah, Dele Alli, he's a good footballer. He's just, as they got too much too soon in his young life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, that's what Man United do wrong. I mean, they gave like Jadon Sancho 350 grand straight away. I mean, it's nuts. It's just like you've got to give them players a low salary, what they consider low. I mean, 30 grand a week's not low salary, but to footballers it is. And then you build up. I've got to keep my game going to get to where I want the top money.
Yeah, I think in fairness to him,
away, they're like,
I mean. My girlfriend says, they get paid too much. But in any walk of life, if you're in a job and then someone comes to you, I'll give you treble your wages, you're always going to take it. It's just ludicrous money that we're talking about with football. It's not like me getting double, whatever, and still being on less than 100 grand a year. This is ridiculous going from 100 grand a year to 100 grand a week to 200 grand a week. But you're always going to take it, and so it's not the players' fault; it's the club's fault and football's fault for being so involved with money. But in fairness to Jadon Sancho, I thought he was one of the only players who looked good against you in that 4-0. He was trying to take. He was trying to take. I think it was Alexander-Arnold on, wasn't he? Other Man United players were just side to side. And
the rest of them are shit.
And that Hannibal kid as well was the only other one who.
Yeah, he came on and put his foot in everyone, didn't he? I mean,
it goes to what I was saying about the North London derby, like Liverpool United, biggest game in world football. If you can't get up for that, then
what you got to get up for?
Something wrong.
Exactly. So before we get off here, right? So I'm just looking at the last 5 meetings. So going back to October 27th, 2019, Liverpool won 2-1. January 2020, Liverpool won 1-0. December 2020, Liverpool won 2-1. 2021, Liverpool won 3-1. And then obviously earlier in the season, it was 2. I think the last time you beat us was the 4-1.
Yeah, Wembley.
So
we haven't won at Anfield for God knows how long. So that's got to change at some point. But
not a lot of people do, to be fair. So before we get out of it, let's get to the score predictions, my friend. As you're the guest, you will go first, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to be cowardly here on my show. I can't do score predictions because it's too much tempting fate. But
fair enough.
I think it will be both teams will score. I'll always say Spurs will win, so I think we can win. I think the 2-2 earlier in the season might play a part because your tactics, certainly when you lost the ball, keeping 2 people back there with Kane and Son against them was just crazy from Klopp. Yeah. And really, you should have lost that game in terms of clear chances created. Yeah. We had about 6. So I think that might play a part in this one. I think either he'll put was it Koyate you said on because Konate, sorry, yeah, because he's quick, or we'll keep someone else back, or we won't go as gung ho. But I think it will play a part, and certainly now with Kane coming deep, and now you've got Kulusevski in there as well, so it's not just Kane and Son. There's three of them, so I think that may play a part. So you may not be as gung ho, but away games, it's all about shutting that crowd up early doors, and Liverpool with their you'll never walk alone are always up for the match right at the start. So you've got to shut them down early doors. And that's either by restricting their chances, making it a boring game, having a couple of chances on your own. But we're notoriously slow starters, so it could easily be you'll be 1-0 up after 5 minutes. But yeah, I think we'll play exactly the same as we did in that White Hart Lane game and the City game, soaking it up and then pinging on the counter-attack, Kane coming deep and Kulusevski's Son running the channels. So I'll have to go a Spurs win, but it won't be like a 4-0 or anything like that. It'll be one goal in it and both teams will score. But equally, we could get you on a really good day, that's a bad day, and then it's 5-0 to you by half time, and then we get out.
Yeah, I mean, if we play to our top potential, I mean, the best I've seen us play this season, that first half against Man City in the FA Cup semi-final. I mean, if we played anyone that day, we'd have just ripped them apart. That's what we're capable of. But I respect Spurs, and I know their dangers part. I know where they're dangerous, and the way Liverpool play, we are going to give Spurs chances. It's just the way we play. Klopp is not going to play Spurs on Saturday and go, right, we need to be a bit more cautious in what we do. He'll want to play in the same way, but make sure we stay disciplined at the same time. So, you know, it's about, for us, it's about keeping possession. If we keep possession and we don't get sloppy with possession and lose the second ball, where Tottenham have that chance to put the ball over the top and counter our press with that, because that's what they would do, then that's where chances go coming for Spurs. I see Spurs scoring just because of the way we play and Spurs' threat on the attack. I think they got one of the best threats on counter-attacks than anyone in the league. Take Liverpool and City, then I think it's probably Spurs with the best counter-attack in the Premier League, because I think they're maybe the top goal scorers in 2022 Spurs. I think Liverpool
I think we still are,
but I see Spurs scoring. Unfortunately, I see Liverpool scoring 4 for yourself. Fortunately for me, I see it. But I think we win 3-1, but I don't think it'd be a game where like we go annihilate or anything. I think it'd be a tightly close game. I think Liverpool I just think Liverpool have too much firepower for everyone in Europe at this moment in time, and I think that will come in. And I'll got to get Chike in. Chike's a Man City fan. Jay, I'm so sorry I didn't come on yesterday, but I'm still so depressed about yesterday. And I hope you rip them apart, please. Chike, my man. And then Savage in Daka in the mud. Yeah, we called him Daka, the Leicester player, because he looks identical to me. And he takes it all in jest. Chike's a good fella. No, Savage is going 3-0 Liverpool.
I mean that's not beyond the realms of possibility.
Yeah, he does make a mistake against Liverpool.
I do think we'll score, though. I do think we'll score because you don't know anything else than to attack, like you've said, and I think Conte will know that, and he'll set us up to play on that counter attack. But for us, it sounds so cliched, but I'm going to say it anyway. That first 20 minutes is massive. We've got to keep it tight, because if we let you get a run of steam, your crowd will be massively up, and then it'll be an even more hostile environment. If we can shut you up, if we can shut you up and then have a couple of chances ourselves. I'm not sure Liverpool fans will get nervous because you're by far the better team, but there's also this title at stake. I think that will go down to the last game, along with top 4 and probably relegation with Burnley and Everton.
So different this season.
Yeah, so
everything's up for grabs still.
Yeah, so I think if you're I don't know what it was like against Newcastle, although it was a fairly early goal, wasn't it? But I think if you're in a tough game and a really tight game, and the opposition are getting chances, your fans could get a bit nervy because of what's at stake. And not only the title, it's this quadruple, which has never ever been done before. So there's so much there's so much riding on it for you, and can't afford any slip up. So hoping that if we can keep you quiet, get a couple of chances, we can make you nervous a little bit because you could be messing up this quadruple chance. But I mean,
quadruple, geez, I just want to win it. If we win the quadruple, obviously we completed football, and then I will never have to listen to a Manchester United fan again in my lifetime going on about the treble and all this stuff, because I could just put that to the background. But I think everything's in Liverpool's destiny hands anyway, apart from the league, because City are 1 point clear. I think this weekend is massive for Liverpool and Manchester City, because coming off this midweek, Liverpool, I mean, we went 2-0 down against Villarreal, but we did that on purpose to give everyone a bit of entertainment. When a tiger, when when a lion plays with its food a little bit, he knows it's going to kill it. It knows it's going to be killed, but he plays with him for a little bit anyway, just for a bit of entertainment, and then finally eats him. That's what Liverpool did with Villarreal. But this Real Madrid game, Real Madrid, that game was massive to Manchester City, and their faces at the end of it, they were in tears, they were in bits. De Bruyne apparently has got an injury, he's been playing with painkillers. Walker got re-injured. To get over that, because they basically lost that game in injury time. To get over that and then come back on Sunday afternoon to come back against a Newcastle team that's in decent form, that's going to be very difficult. And it's either City are going to take all their frustrations and absolutely smash them, or they go feel it. And City, for me, are starting to look a little bit tired. They're starting to look a bit shattered. And Liverpool look fresh at the moment. And I've never heard City fans talk about their squad depth ever. And that's what you're hearing now. They're talking about their squad depth.
They shouldn't really do, should they? With £1 billion being spent, they should be fairly sorted in that department.
But they moaned yesterday that they had to take someone off and bring a 37-year-old Fernandinho on to cover. And I think it's because Liverpool's squad depth has massively improved. It's arguably the best in the league at this moment in time. And so it's a massive weekend. And if obviously Liverpool play first, it's like almost 24 hours later then when City play. So I've got to go with the win, my friend. I love you, but I have to go for the win. 3-1.
I've got to as well. I think as well. Brighton and Brentford, we were expected to win that game. We didn't. Obviously, Leicester, we were expected to win, but we're not expected to get anything other than a battering on Saturday. I think that maybe not take the pressure off, but it's a different kind of pressure when you're the favourite. And I mean, you're favourites for pretty much every game you play, maybe not for the final. That might be 50-50, or when you play City, that might be 50-50.
Exactly.
But we're obviously favourites in a lot of games, but then there are quite a few games where we're not considered the favourites, and this is definitely one of them. So that might allow us to relax a little bit more.
Totally.
And most Spurs fans have accepted this being a write-off and we're going to lose, but with the kind of cautious optimism that we could spring a surprise. And I think we could spring a surprise just because of what happened in that 2-2 earlier in the season. I think that will not be on Klopp's mind, but he'll be slightly more wary of not leaving just two at the back with, just not two at the. I mean, absolutely crazy that was, just two at the back against Son and Kane, and on another day we score 5 in that game, and then on another day we don't have a striker for 60 minutes, or for me if it was when he made that challenge. But
for me, it's going to be an exciting game and a good game of football, and so Arsenal lose on Sunday as well, so it keeps your top 4 alive. That's what I want anyway. Yeah. But guys, we are out of here. That's Chris. I'll put his link in the channel after this, guys, so make sure you go and check him out. And I'm on his show tomorrow, going through the game as well, more from a Tottenham point of view. So it should be good, guys. Enjoy. And thank you for everyone to join me today. And thank you for Chris for joining me.
Really thanks so much for inviting me on. It's been a pleasure being on there.
No worries. So, guys, see you soon. Peace. And, guys, you're never walking.